the Comma in Sports Network.
Hello and welcome everyone to the Early Bird Special NFL Free Agency Primer with the Come On In Sports Network. I am Lawrence Foster joining you this Sunday morning. Hopefully you know it is 9:39, not 8:39. Yes, which clocks did jump forward this morning. So I know some of you may think, man, it's pretty bright out this morning if you forgot to set your old school digital clock. Obviously, thankfully, phones do it for us nowadays, but good morning to everybody. It's the eve of the NFL free agency tampering period. But even though that starts tomorrow, there's been so much action in the NFL over this past week and a half. Lots of big trades, people being cut that maybe weren't expected to be. That always happens. And deadlines always push things, right? So you have the deadline of tomorrow coming up for any team trying to re-sign their guy before they hit the free agent market. Start today talking about some trades that's happened over the past few days just to kind of get an idea where things stand. Big trade obviously was Max Crosby going to the Ravens for 2 first-round picks, one this year, one next year. And it's presumably a win-win for both parties. Max Crosby gets to go to the Ravens, and assuming he can stay healthy, provide them a pass rush they have kind of lacked in the big spots. And for the Raiders, they get 2 first-round picks for a guy that probably by the time they're ready to be competitive and be a playoff team, Max Crosby will be past his prime. So it's one of those trades that for the moment really seems like both teams come out ahead. For the Raiders, it really, to me, sets a plan moving forward for what they can do because SpotRack has them as of right now. The Raiders have just under $120 million in cap space. They obviously own the number 1 pick in the upcoming draft in April. So they can really start to set the table for what the vision will be for that team moving forward. With Kubiak as their new coach and obviously Brady there behind the scenes, kind of one of the ownership group with Mark Davis. So you kind of can see the plan moving forward for the Raiders. Got the 2 first-round picks. They're probably all signs show to them taking Mendoza with the number 1 pick. And then with all that cap space, they should be kind of like New England last year where they're selectively aggressive with how they spend it. And look what New England was able to pull out in 1 year. They won 4 games 2 years in a row. And then they're able to make the Super Bowl this year by being aggressive in free agency, but intelligently. They didn't just go out and just spend willy-nilly. They targeted specific types of players, and it worked. So to me, what the Raiders' plan should be heading into this free agency period is start to get veterans on offense, especially along the offensive line. So when Mendoza comes in, he can hit the ground running. The biggest problem with young quarterbacks and teams is when they don't provide the quarterback the protection that they need early on when they're still processing, still developing. If you're going to get them shell-shocked by having a poor offensive line, it's going to be a waste of a pick because they're going to be ruined by the time you're able to be competitive. There's a pretty good amount of free agency linemen that the Raiders can target. Obviously, Tyler Linderbaum being with the best center, probably the best lineman, arguably the best player available in free agency come tomorrow. And they should also probably target a couple of the tackles as well. I mean, that should be their goal, is to build up that offensive line for Mendoza. And then they also have that second first-round pick now they can get one of the best weapons for Mendoza. And to me, I would want to have veteran offensive linemen if I'm a Raider fan. Other big trades happening before, or news happening before we get to free agency stuff. Obviously, had some releases. Stephon Diggs getting cut, or will be cut by the Patriots. Big cap charge for Stephon Diggs, but also you have to imagine some of that legal drama in the past that got pushed out from the Super Bowl. Probably going to be one of those things that probably might have him not signing with the team, or at least what he thinks he's worth moving forward here. But New England, again, just like last year, they're near the top of the NFL in terms of cap space as of right now. They currently sit at number 10 in cap space with $39.9 million in cap space. And that's before any moves are made in terms of any restructures or anything like that. So I would imagine they'll probably be close, if they wanted to, 50 million. And I saw a good post yesterday about like fans would say, yeah, man, restructure so-and-so. Teams should be smart with how they do that as well. Just, do you want to max everything out right now in terms of restructures? Or you can be selective, like if we need to, we can go to the bank of so-and-so. Like the teams that have like the big quarterbacks on the big deals, or any like big stars, it's like they always plan like, hey, I'm going to be able to do this. I'm going to be able to go to Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, and just get them to restructure every year. But if you're not going to be using that money, why do it and push and kick the can down the road if someone has a career-ending injury, abruptly retires like Dahlman did with the Bears? You never know nowadays with head injuries and how people's bodies feel. Their players are smarter than ever in terms of like just cutting their losses while they can. So a lot of fans, myself included, have always been like of the mindset of like, yeah, get the cap space, but I've started to come around to the idea of only doing it if necessary. If you're not going to go out and get a couple of guys with that money, don't just let it be. Don't add void years. Don't add any of that stuff at the end of a contract that can all just come instantly due, and you don't have any way to deal with that. So we have free agency starting tomorrow, obviously, with the tampering period. Don't even get me started on that. I also think the draft should be before free agency, but what do I know? They'll never do that. But free agency, the top free agent. We'll start with the edge rushers here. Trey Hendrickson. He's kind of got the market to himself right now in terms of top edge rushers. You saw what Max Crosby went for. You saw what Micah Parsons got traded for last year at the beginning of the year for Dallas and Green Bay. You've seen what the money they're getting too. And we all know Hendrickson the last few years has been wanting that bigger deal. That's why him and the Bengals have had the issues they've had of him not getting what he feels is a true long-term value deal for himself. So Trey Hendrickson is the top available edge. You look at teams that have cap space, that have a need at defensive end, or edge rusher. The Chargers, who have almost $100 million, they re-signed Khalil Mack to a really big $18 million deal yesterday on a one-year deal. You always think of like receivers being paired. I think the Chargers should be somebody that goes after Hendrickson to have somebody to take the attention off of Khalil Mack. As fantastic as Mack has played for his age, he lost Bosa last year, who helped take eyes and bodies away from him. That should be an under-the-radar thing for the Chargers. We got the cap space. We need somebody to help on defense. Hendrickson should be one of the guys that the Chargers look at. Obviously, the Titans are clearly in the market for a pass rusher, but the question is, are they going to go young because they got the early first, second round picks? Are they going to go kind of like what the Falcons did last year by getting one or two edge rushers early in the draft and just skewing young, or do they want a veteran? if they want a veteran, Hendrickson is there. They have 80, just over $89 million in cap space. So, I mean, they're another team that has the space, has a need. But does Hendrickson also, does he want to go to another rebuild? Same with the Jets. I mean, the Seahawks still have $60.7 million left. So a lot of good options there for Hendrickson in terms of pass rusher. Now, I want to jump to the offensive line now. Obviously, the biggest offensive lineman that's going to be the biggest ticket is Tyler Linderbaum, the center from the Ravens. We've seen a few centers released over the past few weeks, past few days. Yesterday, the Bills re-signed Connor McGovern, who would have been kind of like out there in the market with Linderbaum, helping drive the value. And it seemed like, especially from what the predictions of what the center position is going to get, seemed like McGovern kind of took a team-friendly deal, which might have hurt Tyler Linderbaum. But Linderbaum is going to get paid. He's the best lineman on the market. He's like young in his prime center. And to me, this is a prime candidate for anybody with a young quarterback. Even if you already have a center, the odds are they're not at Tyler Linderbaum's status. Like pressure up the middle, having a leader in the middle who can identify coverages, Mike backers, who's blocking who at the line of scrimmage, taking that off of a young quarterback's plate. I think where Linderbaum ends up will be the most impactful free agency move of the offseason. It's not going to be the big sexy thing like everyone wants the trades or the receivers or the skill positions and the quarterbacks. Generally, offensive linemen do not move the needle in terms of like seismic activity, right? But when you watched the Super Bowl this past year, you saw the difference between the Seahawks and the Patriots of one team dominated the line of scrimmage, the Seahawks. And the year before that, too, the Eagles dominated the Super Bowl at the line of scrimmage. So it seems like teams are starting. The NFL has always been like cyclical. It seems like they're starting to move back to the running game, offensive line, smash mouth type of style. And Linderbaum has been, at no pun intended, at the center of one of the best rushing attacks in the league over the past few years with Derrick Henry, Lamar Jackson, Hill also spelling in there at times at running back. So you got that going on. So where does Linderbaum end up? I already mentioned earlier how I feel like the Raiders need to be in the market for linemen, veterans. They should not take the chances on the young offensive linemen, especially assuming they draft Mendoza with a number 1 overall pick. So to me, it should be easy peasy. Go and get him, throw the money at him. You got the money. You will not regret having him in the middle, helping Mendoza along, taking things off his plate, making sure pressure up the middle, which is the easiest way to disrupt an offensive passing attack, won't be an issue. So that should be one of the first things announced once that legal tampering period opens at noon on Monday, is him being just signed to a massive deal by the Raiders. There's also, a few other teams like the Jets can use just all the offensive line help. But I could see Tyler Linderbaum going to the Raiders because of the vision and what they have available. They got the 2 first-round picks the next 2 years. Brady's there. They're going to have Mendoza, who just seems like, for a quarterback class that's pretty weak, he seems like a pretty surefire thing of just his mindset, his attitude, how he plays. Heisman Trophy winner, etc. So to me, Linderbaum to the Raiders, maybe the Patriots too. Because the Patriots just traded Bradbury to the Bears a couple days ago, and they got cap space. But if they traded a veteran, were they making a move for a better center, or was it more to clear up space for a bigger move, which we'll get to later, at a skill position player to go along with Drake May? Let's continue with the offensive line. Rasheed Walker, offensive tackle from the Packers. one of the better offensive tackles available in the free agency period. He played for the Packers the past few years. He's only 26-year-old, and that's the big thing. He's not one of those like veteran offensive linemen that hit it like, man, is he going to start his decline? Because to me, like the linemen are one of those positions like they can be good, but then it seems like when they hit a wall, it just goes downhill quick. But he's 26. He's got room to prove. So to me, that's what free agency should be about, is you're finding somebody who you can see growth potential in, and they haven't reached their ceiling yet. Because the odds are if they had reached their ceiling, their team that owns the rights to them at the moment would keep them. So Rasheed Walker, to me, is the top tackle available. You got some other tackles that are there too. Braden Smith from the Colts is another one. But Walker is going to be the top tackle on the market, barring any surprise cuts before the league year, obviously. You never truly know when teams maybe they're negotiating, trying to get like a reduction or restructure of a contract, or players says no, maybe one becomes available that isn't on the market right now. But Walker, again, we're going to keep repeating a lot of the same names because they need offensive linemen. Washington, for one, to me, who has the fourth amount of cap space in the league at just over $83 million. They should also be in the market here, because I don't want to go through another season where Jaden Daniels is just getting hurt constantly. But one of the most interesting free agents we're going to jump to now is Alec Pierce, wide receiver for the Colts, widely considered the top free agent target at wide receiver. And to me, this is where it can get dicey. Free agency, you generally have to overpay. That's just a kind of a rule of thumb. You go in knowing, hey, I'm going to have to pay more than I probably want, more than I normally would, to make this player come here. Alec Pierce has led the league in yards per catch the last 2 years. He's a fantastic deep ball target. But his predicted salary is going to be $24 million a year. So it raises the question, is a player like Alec Pierce, is he worthy of $24 million? Is he a true number one? I just have a hard time viewing him as such. Let's looking at his stats here. So he's averaged, he has just under 3,000 yards in 4 years. The last 2 years, he's kind of boomed it. The first two, he had his first 2 seasons under 600 yards each year. Year 3, 824 with 7 touchdowns. And then last year, 1,003 yards, 6 touchdowns. Both years, he averaged more than 21 yards per catch. But in those 2 years, he only had 84 catches. So again, what are you getting with him? To me, he should go to a team that already has somebody established. If you're expecting Alec Pierce to be your number one, and you're going to be sorely disappointed for what you're going to pay $24 million or more for, I want more than 84 catches in 2 years. I want more than 1,800 yards in 2 years. Yeah, the yards per catch is fantastic. And yeah, he can offer a lot to a team, but is he $24 million a year worthy? I don't think so. Like that jump from being bona fide number 2 to hey, I'm the stud now, that's a big jump. And then you see a lot of players fail when they try to do that. I mean, as a Bills fan, I always think back to Peerless Price. At the end of his rookie contract with the Bills, he had a breakout year with Drew Bledsoe. In his first year in Buffalo, Eric Moulds had really fun offense there. The Falcons gave up a couple of big draft picks for him, thinking he was going to be number 1. And a few years later, Pierce is right back in Buffalo because he could not make that jump to being the top dog on a team. So Alec Pierce, Can he do that? Can he make that jump? I don't think so. Now, the Seahawks have, what do they have? They have $60.7 million, and they have a Rashid Shaheed that they're presumably going to let hit the market. To me, like Alec Pierce would be a perfect fit there because they have JSN. So if they have people worried about JSN, Alec Pierce's skills would really shine there because he's going to get one-on-one coverage. He's going to get coverage rolled to JSN side, and then his skills will be put to best use. You've seen what Darnold can do the past few years with big receivers. So nobody's talking about Seattle as an Alec Pierce option, but if I'm them, I would take Pierce over Shaheed because Pierce offers a little bit more, I think, as a receiver. Shaheed is strict speed, where I think Pierce has shown some ability to be that solid number two. Shaheed's like a 3-4. Yeah, he does offer the special teams ability, but I don't know if you can really do that. Welcome in, Atlanta. Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to the Early Bird Special Free Agency Primer. We kind of discussed some of the big moves already. We talked some linemen. We talked Trey Hendrickson. Now we're on the Alec Pierce discussion, which I feel like is the most interesting discussion. And under the radar team I've just been mentioning is Seattle for him. What he can provide opposite of JSN is, I think, the best ideal landing spot for Alec Pierce, where his cost will be more tolerable because he'll be more productive. If he goes to a team like Tennessee, where he is expected to be the guy, I think they're going to, fans and the team overall after a year or two is going to be disappointed in what they get. But that's going to be, I think, he'll be the first domino to fall for wide receivers, because this free agency class, I think, just like the draft class, is more of a lot of twos and downs. I really don't see somebody who's that, I'm the guy, I'm the alpha, double team me or you're going to regret it type of people in the draft or free agency. It's great in terms of depth. You're going to be able to find number 2s, 3s, and 4s fairly easily this year. But for what Alec Pierce is going to get paid, he's going to get paid like that guy, and I just don't see that happening of him having the production to match that. We'll keep it on wide receivers since we're talking about that. Some other receivers. You got Romeo Doubs from the Packers, who just seem to stockpile receivers. Matthew Golden, they got Watson, Jordan Reed. So lots of receiver, and Doubs seems like he'll be someone that hits the mark. Now, I've seen some Twitter reports out there that Doubs is already kind of attached to the 49ers. Again, this time of year, smoke screens are out there. His agent might be trying to drum up interest from other teams, thinking that he's a lock to go to the Niners. And you've seen it in the past where, like, until that deal is done, too, nothing is guaranteed. Even things that are agreed to on Monday. You've seen in the past teams change their mind. McKissick from the Commanders a few years ago, which actually ended up being as a Bills fan, a big blessing. We had signed we had agreed to, like a 3-year deal with him, and then he backed out. I remember Brandon Beane being like really mad at that, being like, "Man, we had an agreement. We moved forward, think you're doing it." But before the deal could be finalized on the league opening, he decided to go back to the Commanders, got hurt, really never heard from him again. Now, the silver lining of that is because we didn't sign McKissick, we ended up drafting James Cook instead. So all things considered, I think that worked out pretty well. But that's just an example of, we got to keep that in mind to ourselves of when agreements are reached tomorrow, things can change. They generally don't, but it's happened in the past. I think also Kendrick changed where he was going to go. Even coaches have done it. Remember when Josh McDaniels was going to be a Colts coach, backed out, stayed with New England. So, yeah, it's get excited about, but don't count your chickens till Wednesday when things are official. But Romeo Dobbs is out there. You got Wendell Robinson, who has been linked a lot of places. The Titans, I think even Adam Schefter tweeted out that he seems to be somebody, but he's going to be getting paid so much money too. Wendell Robinson. Again, his projected thing is, I think, in the high teens. Like, that's why free agency is such a crapshoot, and so many of these free agency winners end up being losers by the end of the year. That's why I keep bringing up New England. What they did last year is kind of rarefied air in terms of the free agency winner. They signed what? Milton Williams, Spillane, Matt Collins, Stephon Diggs, Bradbury. Like, they just signed so many free agents, and then they had the success to follow it up. I always think back to the Redskin days with Dan Snyder, and like every year, like the Redskins, who won the offseason? Oh, Redskins. They signed Bruce Smith and Deion Sanders and Albert Hainsworth and making trades for Donovan. Like, they always won the headlines in the offseason, but by the time the season rolled around, not so much. So to me, the wide receiver market, you might be better off waiting for the draft or for the second wave of free agency, because these early guys. Sirius Marine, thank you for the raid. 19 viewers coming in from Sirius Marine. Much appreciated. Happy Sunday to everybody. I hope you all know it is officially 10:05 a.m. In case you have one of those clocks that does not reset on its own. Today was spring forward day. We jumped forward an hour while you were sleeping, or maybe you were awake and you saw the time go backwards. Felt like a time traveler. Welcome in to the Come On In Sports Network. I am Lawrence Foster with your early bird special NFL free agency primer. Sirius Marine, thank you again. Yes, thank you for the raid. Much appreciated, my guy. Thank you. Have a great Sunday to you, and thank you for raiding us at Come On In Sports. Much appreciated. Up Bloody Pies. So thank you to Sirius Marine. Anybody in here hasn't, go ahead and follow Sirius Marine from Twitch if you haven't. APC Burning Net. Up Bloody Pies. Good start to the season. Saints wasn't even ready. Yeah, I mean, the Saints, I can't believe right now they're going to, as of now, let Cam Jordan hit the free agency market. And anybody who also is in here, if you throw things in the chat, by all means, I would love for you guys to lead our discussion today. Anything NFL free agency, a trade you want to see, predictions for who's going to go where, surprise cuts, surprise trades, throw them in the chat. Like, I don't like being, like, you guys leading it is ideal to me. So Saints weren't ready. The Saints, to me, are going to be an interesting team. Obviously, here at Come On In Sports, we have a lot of Saints fans, Saints coverage here. Dolph, Zach, Nan, like all Saints people. Sorry, Falcon. I know, we got that. I am doing great, AP Burning Net. It is a Sunday. I love my weekends. Helps me recharge for the week. And this will be a kind of thing moving forward on Sundays. I like getting up early, getting things rolling. So we'll kind of have the early bird specials every Sunday here on the Come On In NFL Network. Thank you, Stream Element. All right. So yes, APC, thank you for coming in. Thank you for chatting with us. If you have any questions on your Saints, throw them out there. I mean, I'm a Bills fan, but I watch and love all and devour all things NFL. Sunday. I seen your Linkin Park video put. But we got a lot of stuff happening tomorrow. The tampering period is opening in the NFL. We've been talking about receivers. We talked some offensive linemen. Lots of money is going to be flying around. I'm just interested to see the quarterback carousel, what happens there? Where's Kyler Murray going to go? Yeah, APC Nan is part. Yeah, Nan is with our come on in, he lets us just stream it out to his Twitch channel. But yeah, like I would imagine that Nan saw your stuff in Discord for sure. But the quarterbacks we haven't really discussed yet. You got Geno Smith hitting a market. You have Kyler Murray. What's going to happen with Tua? Are they going to just keep? To me, they should keep him, but they also run the risk of like that dude is just one hit, and doesn't even have to be a big hit. He's one hit away for kind of being his career being done. Like last few times, like I feel I feel sick when I've seen Tua just get hit like he has, and he's laying on the ground in that fencing position. I'm like, just as a human, I'm like, dude, just retire. You've made enough. You're set for life. You're a smart guy. Like, don't ruin what you have moving forward by continuing to put yourself out there. I know as an athlete, like you're competitive, you go through it, like, but it just as a fan of football, and like obviously don't want anybody hurt like that. Just seeing that a few times, like, at what point do you call it a career? Kind of like what the Bear Center did, right? He's 27 in his prime, and he's like, I've had enough. And again, I think you're going to start seeing more of that as we move forward, especially with NIL now. The kids are making money 3-4 years in college. It's not like they have to get the NFL and get a couple contracts. They're making a couple million in college because unlike other leagues, they have to stay in college 3 to 4 years. So it's also going to be a factor here of like, you got to think if somebody has an injury history and a free agent, what are you going to pony up to them? Because if they decide, hey, that's it, I'm done, all those guaranteed dollars that maybe you have spread out over 4 to 5 years of a contract, if they retire year 2 of that contract, all of that comes due. Now the bill comes due right away. You can't just spread it out over that. So that's another big thing to start factoring in is like, if someone has the head injury history of Tua, who wants to take a chance on that he plays for you, he gets that hit that ends his career, and then everything comes due right then. I know it's a bit. All right, APC, thank you. I appreciate that. After stream, I'll hit that up. But guys, we have 21 people in here on this Sunday morning. Thank you all for hanging out. Please throw your comments in there. Like, what do you want to talk about with free agency, the draft, or your team? What, like, throw it in there. Let you guys lead the conversation. Here at the Come On In Sports Network, the name and if you see our emblem in the upper right-hand corner of the screen, it means something. That's you guys. We're telling you, hey, come on in. You're part of the show. And speaking of such, we have Dolph Jackson here with us on this early bird special NFL free agency edition. Welcome, Dolph. We got 21 people. Someone rated us from Twitch with 15 viewers. So welcome in, Dolph Jackson, this morning. Dolph, you're muted. Yeah, I don't hear you at all. But yeah, guys, Dolph is in here, the creator, the founder, the OG here at Come On In Sports. If you got Saints questions, I know APC, you had mentioned the Saints earlier.
Testing 1, 2.
Oh, we got you, Dolph. Welcome in, Dolph. Early bird special NFL free agency priming here at the Come On In Sports Network. 20 viewers live with us here, Dolph, this morning. How we doing on this eve of NFL free agency?
Man, I'm doing good, but can you really say it's the eve with all the action that has been going on before the early tampering period begins tomorrow? We got teams re-signing players to extensions. We got mega trades going on, man. And like I said, tomorrow is early tampering, but what an exciting time for the NFL. And this just goes to prove, man, that the NFL season, man, it's 24/7. There's no end to it. And I know 2 weeks ago at the Combine, a lot of people were mentioned that the combine could be coming to an end. It's not coming to an end because of things like we have seen this week. The combine is where all this was conquered up. The combine is where all the trades and signings that we're going to see tomorrow, right at 4 p.m. Eastern time. This is where all those deals were formulated in Indianapolis. So excited, man, and just happy to be here with you, my brother.
I'll run through a couple things we talked about, Dolph, already to get your view on it. First thing we talked about was, like you said, the big moves. We talked to kick the show off the Max Crosby to the Raiders, to the Ravens trade. What were your thoughts and views on that? I kind of viewed it as a win-win for both teams at this point.
I viewed it as the Raiders saying that, hey, we need to totally tear this thing down. We need capital. We got to bring in young talent, and our best asset right now is Max Crosby. For the Ravens, man, you add Max Crosby to that defense. Now teams not only in the AFC North but the AFC have to worry about a consistent non let up, relentless guy like Max Crosby coming. You know one thing, Max Crosby is going to give you everything he's got when he's on the field. So the Ravens, you got Max Crosby up front, superstar. You got Kyle Hamilton at safety, superstar. So I'm looking for the Ravens, man, to bounce back because early last year the Ravens didn't look like the Ravens as far as defensive wise. So I'm looking for them to bounce back. And listen, Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry, what's the excuse? Can't be no more excuses in Baltimore. They got to get the job done. Got to make the playoffs, first of all.
Right. That's the first step from last year.
That's the first step. Make the playoffs. And then you got, because we hear Coach say this. Shout out to our brother, legendary Coach Rock. We always hear Coach because he gets frustrated when people talk about MVPs for Lamar Jackson. The thing about it is this: we know how talented you are. To be in that tier one of quarterbacks, which I believe you are, but to be considered among the greats of the greats, you got to at least get to the Super Bowl, in my opinion. And that's what everybody in Baltimore is waiting for. And that's what everyone in the NFL is waiting for, to see Lamar Jackson on the biggest stage that there is in the NFL.
Absolutely. And sticking with edge rushers, our next discussion led to Trey Hendrickson being the top edge rusher on the market. I kind of listed some under-the-radar places for him. I listed the Chargers, who have a ton of cap space, who need somebody opposite of Khalil Mack to take pressure off them. They're kind of in win-now mode. What are your view on Trey Hendrickson, and where's some place you can maybe see him landing?
First of all, I think a contender. If you're a contender, what about the Eagles? Where it was they were in on Max Crosby. What about the Cowboys? They were in on Max Crosby. I could see those as two NFC East foes in the bidding war for Trey Hendrickson. We know how talented Trey Hendrickson is. I believe he automatically helps both of those teams. And just think about Trey Hendrickson going to the Eagles with that defensive front that they already have. Even if he's just used as a situational pass rusher, he'll be really effective for them. And then with Dallas, with the trade for Quinn Williams last year, that defensive front, they got really good, got stout up front, and then you add an edge that teams have to account for in Trey Hendrickson. I think that could be a really big addition to the Cowboys. Plus, they cleared a lot of cap space. They were going after Max Crosby. Unfortunately, they were unable to get him. But I think the Eagles, offhand, I'm looking at the Cowboys, who can use a pass rusher. So those are the two offhand. And in the AFC, what about the Broncos?
Yeah, they could always use a pass rusher for sure. And they're probably going to lose a couple of their defensive players in free agency as well. So I like your idea of Dallas. I hadn't considered them, Dolph. So I like Hendrickson. Seems like a good fit there for them for what they need. this is going off on a little tangent. It amazes me that they're after Max Crosby. Might go after Hendrickson when you already had a Micah Parsons. Like, why go through all the trouble to get somebody you already had? That doesn't make much sense to me.
And one more team, let's throw in there, which I believe this is that team's top need, the Detroit Lions.
Yes, they need somebody opposite of
yes.
Henderson.
That would be a real big addition to the Lions. As I'm looking up right now, some teams, I see the Lions as one. I know Khalil Mack just re-signed with the Chargers, but
yeah,
I mean they got Edge as their second most needed area of need in free agency, but I would say it's first.
I'm with you on that. And speaking of needs, I'm just running you through what we talked about so we can get your thoughts. Again, Dolph Jackson here with us at our Early Bird Special NFL Free Agency Primer on the Come On In Sports Network. Please, guys, we have 24 people in here. Throw your stuff into the chat. We would love for you to lead our discussion, lead our chat here. The name is what it means. Come on in. That's our emblem. The name means come on in and join us. Drive our show. The next thing we talked about was Linderbaum, obviously the best offensive lineman, the best center available. I looked at teams that have young quarterbacks that they need to protect. To me, I thought the Raiders, with all their cap space, with drafting Mendoza, I want to have a veteran up the middle for him. I listed the Raiders as a possibility, the Titans to help protect Cam Ward better this year. So your thoughts on Linderbaum in free agency?
Number one guy on the board. I believe that I'm the Raiders, I got to do everything I possibly can to get Linderbaum in the building.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to bring in a young quarterback. You have a young second-year running back who's exceptionally talented, and you have a generational talent at tight end.
Yep.
Bring in Linderbaum. You got to solidify that offensive line, though. Most importantly, the blind side of Mendoza. And I believe they still need a number one wide receiver. But as free agency goes right now, Linderbaum, he has to be imperative. I believe he's imperative to the Raiders. And looking at the Raiders, see what they have for the Raiders, most glaring need here in free agency. And they actually got Edge as the last, offensive line as number 2, the quarterback. Quarterback, we already know where they're going. So offensive line is number 1 in free agency. You got to get veteran linemen up front for this young man. I believe a guard, a center, and then a tackle to protect this kid, because he's your future and he has to work out. You're banking on him working out, and let's see. I mean, cap space is no problem. The Raiders have $86 million in cap space. Their money, they only have $34.8 million, so they are sitting pretty right now. And right now, they after cap spending is $191.6 million. Money to spend. You got 2 number ones and a 2 in this upcoming NFL draft. So, yeah, offensive lineman, Lawrence.
All right, and APC's joined us. So they rated us from a stream on Twitch. So he's brought up the Saints. So I'm glad you joined us, Dolph, because you're our Saints guy here. So he's mentioned them waiting. We talked a little bit about Cam Jordan being a free agent. So give APC like your view of the Saints heading into free agency, what you see as a need, what they're going to do, and all that good stuff for Saints fans.
Man, right now we're in the best position that we've been in years. Right now the Saints are sitting at $20 million in cap space. So we are definitely going to be players. They renegotiated Alvin Kamara's contract, but they renegotiated in a way, it's this kind of rule, it's this 50% rule. And shout out to Ross Jackson, my brother Ross. He broke it down for us. But In other words, the Saints did not. It doesn't go against their salary cap in the way they didn't have to cut him a check in the form of a signing bonus or anything, but they were able to rework his contract and clear some money. So that's something to keep an eye on. Keep an eye on with the Saints. Could they be looking to make a move there? We'll have to see. But as far as I think you're saying Super Bowl wise, and I know who this is. Nah, man, Super Bowl wise, no. We just trying to win a division that is attainable, and we're not the only ones feel like that. Atlanta feels like that. Carolina, of course, feels like that. They won the division. Tampa, of course, they feel like, hey, they let the division title slip away. They should have had it, won it again. And we're coming from the rear, and we closed the season 5-4. We have hope. We have a quarterback in the building that everyone believes in, that a quarterback that made everyone believe in him because of his play. Now, it's a small sample size, only 9 games. But with those 9 games, now you surround this kid, because when you look at the NFL, like we all do, we know when we see a player who's a player. You know when you see a player that has that, like everyone likes to say, it. And this young man has that it for the Saints. So the Saints have to build up around him. Their number one need, interior offensive lineman. They got to find him a guard. They're solid on the end with the tackles. I believe in the draft. Wide receiver is so deep in this draft. Mm-hmm. I believe you can get you a number 2 receiver in day 2. Even in day 3, you can get at least a number 4 receiver, a receiver that can contribute on special teams and on regular downs. So offensive line, wide receiver, and don't be surprised because it is hot. The rumor is hot. It's a lot of smoke, and it's about to turn into a blaze. Travis Etienne, he could be coming home.
I was going to ask you that. I was going to ask, because I've been reading Travis Etienne being linked to you. I was going to ask you if you thought that's a real possibility for the Saints.
From my sources and everything I've been reading, this thing's serious. It could be.
Now, you mentioned guard. As a Bills fan, we signed Connor McGovern to a deal, so it means we're going to let David Edwards walk. To me, I would think he's a really good guard, and I think he'd be a good fit for you.
And we're linked. Saints have been linked to David Edwards, so I would love to have Edwards as our left guard. Now, I wouldn't be surprised the Saints trade Cesar Ruiz. Well, they can, but because he's been called out. He was called out by Mickey Loomis. The GM called him out. We got to get more from him, more consistency from the former number 1 pick from Michigan. No denying he's talented, but it's just sometimes his mental lapse or just his poor technique. At times he gets lazy with his technique, and it just stands out. But as Saints fans, we kind of like anything bad he does, we kind of overblow it. He could have been playing good the entire game, but that one play, and that's it. He got to go. He's a bum. How it goes.
Every fan base has a player like that, Dolph, where they're just all the negative are just like, and it's probably because you've seen too much in the past. Like, man, like they just keep doing the same thing over and over.
Right.
So, like, I feel you on that. Every fan base has that 1 or 2 players like, ugh. Them again.
Yes, exactly, man.
But next, when you hop on, we were going to move to any surprise trades or releases you see coming to start, because maybe a team's trying to restructure, a contract that can't work. Someone misses out on somebody else that they're like, man, now I got to make a trade. So any big or maybe surprising predictions from you from things that kind of aren't on the radar right now?
Surprise trades, I would say no. What I'm interested to see is Kyler Murray. I believe Kyler Murray is the number 1 quarterback, number 1 free agent on the market. I know it NFL.com, they still have Malik Willis as the number one free agent available. I totally disagree with that. What Malik Willis 3 starts? I mean, he looked good in those 3 starts, and that's the key. Tomorrow, will Malik Willis be signed for $30 million or more a year? I think it comes between. I think he comes in between $22 and $27 million. Not that could be low for me, but I can't see a team sitting back and saying, "Hey, we're going to give Malik Willis $30 million to be our franchise quarterback." To me, I think whoever signs him, I think it's they're going to initially sign him to a prove it deal.
Yeah,
they're going to have a way out of the contract if it doesn't work out. And if I'm Malik Willis, I'm gonna sign that deal as long as it's fair to me, and of course I like it. And then I'm gonna go out on the field and I'm gonna earn that lucrative contract with my next. I'm gonna earn my next lucrative contract with either the team that signs me this free agent period or when I'm a free agent again.
And you've seen that the past few years of teams starting to do that with the veterans. Sam Darnold has done it a couple times. He did with the Niners to repair his reputation, went to the Vikings, had a great year. Daniel Jones just did it. Seattle kind of did it with Geno Smith. He didn't have much of anything. They turned to him. So I agree with you there. And so Malik Willis should really be very selective in what he does. But I'm with you just in terms of money. And we talked about that with Alec Pierce. Pierce is predicted to get $24 million on the open market. And I just do not see him as a number one $24 million a year guy. He should be on a team like Seattle should sign him to be a deep threat opposite of JSN, where teams they'll be afraid to put one-on-one coverage on him because of what he'll be able to do deep down the field.
Right. And right now he's what? He's the number 5 best available free agent this year. 51.8% snaps for the coach this season. He had 101 in the slot and 659 wide. He even lined up at tight end 15 times this year for the coach. So I like Alec Pierce. Every time you watch a coach game, all the kid does is make plays, and it's big plays, it's splash plays. He can take the top off of defense. I actually think that was a good all-around receiving core in Indianapolis.
It was, yeah.
I wish they could have kept it together, but we'll see. But the big question for them is, who's going to be the quarterback? Who's going to hold it down until Daniel Jones is ready to go? And we know Richardson. They have told him he can seek a trade. To me, for Richardson, you looking at a day 3 pick.
At best.
At best. Yep. You're looking at a day 3 pick. So that's what I meant with that.
I don't know if you've seen the video with Anthony Richardson and the Vikings coach, how he told him, like, at the end of a game where they played, he's like, "Man, I still believe in you." And like, so that's when he was on the Colts still. People are tying kind of strings there of like him taking a gamble on him of what he can do with him and with that offense. So just thoughts of that, of a possibility of him going to the Vikings and competing with J.J. McCarthy.
May the best man win. But if I'm a Viking fan, hell, I believe him and J.J. McCarthy, 2 youngsters battling it out. I mean, let me say this. I know I was watching the Rich Eisen show, and Rich Eisen kind of was in his feeling about his Michigan alum, about how people are just basically writing off J.J. McCarthy or being disrespectful to him about saying bring Kyler Murray in or Anthony Richardson or whoever. J.J. McCarthy is the reason for that. Did you watch him play this season?
Mm-hmm.
He is the reason for that. Now, he'll be going to his 3rd season, but of course last year was virtually the kid's rookie season.
Yeah.
All right. He had a few moments, but most of his moments were bad. They were bad. And it was some of it was some ugly football. But then at times he'll play some, you sit back and like, okay. But evidently, we're not the only ones on the outside that think that, hey, we need to do something at quarterback, because the Vikings, the rumors of the Vikings looking to bring in a veteran quarterback or even a quarterback in the draft has been hot and heavy. So Anthony Richardson there, to me, they already have that in J.J. McCarthy. I would like to see him go to a team with a proven leader, where he can sit behind a successful veteran quarterback and
I would
learn.
take him.
Yes,
I would love Buffalo to trade for a late round pick for him to sit behind Josh Allen.
Yes,
and Mitch Trubisky, have him be the third and just learn.
Right. You know, that would be a good place for him. Hell, Kansas City. Yeah, but in Kansas City, because of the coaching pedigree, because of Andy Reid.
Yeah.
Go to Kansas City. When Mahomes is healthy, we already know, foregone conclusion, but you get to learn from Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid. You get a hell of a football one-on-one lesson there. So I'm thinking Kansas City, man. Because we saw the backup quarterback situation last year. It wasn't pretty for Kansas City. Anthony Richardson, say what we want. The kid is talented, but this is what scares me about this year's draft with Todd Simpson. Those 15 starts, man. It's just history. History says, and history is 100% victorious, and 15 or less starts coming into the league. Yep. It ain't good. He was not ready to come into the league, but then again, if somebody's throwing $40-50 million at me, I'm gonna take it. So,
I don't blame at all.
I understand, but still got time to grow, man. And the biggest thing he's gonna have to do, whatever locker room he goes into, because those guys are going to be looking at him out the corner of their eye, because they may forgive you, but no one go forget this.
Oh yeah,
they're not
tapping himself out. Yeah.
They're not. Now, like I say, I don't know if it was a medical condition or whatever, man. But you just, as a quarterback, you can't do that. But again, the kid, we've seen flashes for him. Is undeniable how athletic and talented that he is. He has tools. There's something there. There is something there. It just has to be coached out of him, man. He has to be developed. Just that simple. He needs to go somewhere where he can be developed and he's not pushed immediately into being that starting quarterback.
And that was a problem in Indianapolis. He was pushed out there too early.
Yeah,
like you said, that some stats, I'm going to say, measurements. There's some things that are there for a reason, and like you said, the quarterback starting thing is a big thing. Like, you got to have a certain amount of. Like, look what Trey Lance had. He was drafted how high with how few starts did he have? Look how that turned out.
Right.
I mean, things just don't turn out well for quarterbacks who don't have that just experience in college. But you mentioned the Vikings. I went into Kyler Murray before. If I'm Kyler Murray, I'd take a prove-it deal with the Vikings. I can beat out J.J. McCarthy and put me with Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, T.J. Hawkinson, and I'll show you what I can do.
I was saying that yesterday, talking to a friend of mine, man. If I'm Kyler Murray's team, I'm calling Minnesota. If I'm the Vikings, I'm bringing Kyler Murray in. J.J. McCarthy, Kyler Murray, battle it out. Kyler Murray should win that. Easily.
And that's why Daniel Jones went to the Colts. He's like, I can beat out Anthony Richardson.
Yes.
Like, the veterans are smart. Like, if they're smart and don't take one huge deal, take the prove-it deal. Going down, like Daniel Jones is going to get paid. He got transition tag because of how well he played. Darnold got a huge deal in Seattle because of how he played. So go and do it, Kyler. Trust yourself.
Right. And looking at the best available free agents at quarterback, minus Malik Willis and Kyler Murray, you got Kirk Cousins. There's been a little rumor about because he go back to Minnesota.
Yeah.
Of course, Aaron Rodgers, we're waiting. If he goes anywhere, it's going to be to Pittsburgh. Then the next highest rated quarterback will be Marcus Mariota, Carson Wentz, Phillip Rivers, Geno Smith, Joe Flacco. That's just names. Then there's Brandon Allen, Tyrod Taylor, Russell Wilson, who may retire, Trey Lance, Josh Johnson, and Mitchell Trubisky. So Mitchell Trubisky is a free agent. So those are your options at quarterback, veteran quarterback. So not a list that is, I would say, inspiring to a team needing a quarterback. Now there is Derek Carr. He says he wants to play. He wants to play for a contender. That's a possible addition to the Vikings.
Yeah, 100%.
100%.
I don't know what the Saints would want. I just imagine they'd want him off the books because as soon as he says he's coming back, that salary and everything kicks right in. There's not going to be a runaway for that. So he kind of can hold him over the stove of being like, hey, if you don't get rid of me, I'm saying I'm coming back, and now you got to deal with my cap charge. You got to deal with my contract.
Yeah, but they'll with their cap, they'll be able to sustain it. But he's not coming back. There's no chance, and he'll never. Hell, he may never come back. Hell, he ain't coming back to state of Louisiana. That's a done deal. I guarantee you that. Derek Carr is not coming back. Now listen, I think a little bit of it was overblown, but at the same time, there's a saying, and this for any player that goes to New Orleans: if you love the city will love you back. Mm-hmm. And it just didn't feel genuine with Derek Carr, and Derek Carr was scoring, man. I always called him a lover scoring. When he was let go by the Raiders, that hurt him, and he'll be in press conferences, and he'll still be talking about when he was with the Raiders and things. Like, the man was scoring, he was hurt. I mean, hey, he was familiar with Dennis Allen. Dennis Allen was trying to save his job. He was doing anything he could to save his job as a head coach, and he brought Derek Carr in, and it just didn't work. He wasn't able to win the NFC South, wasn't able to advance the team to the playoffs, and that eventually that's what it was all about. But he was not as bad as some of us want to make it out to be, but he wasn't that good either, and so that's why I'm at with that.
And I talked about this before you got on about that's what free agency is. You're going to overpay. Trades and free agency, you're going to overpay. So a lot of the NFL is casual fans. They just see a contract, they see a name. That money they see in their mind should equate to some sort of production on the field. Right. So the money Carr got was probably like, well, why is he not playing like Patrick Mahomes? Why is he not playing like we paid this guy this much money? What's going on? And that's the danger of free agency. And that's why what New England did last year of winning free agency and actually winning in the season is something that should be analyzed, because how often do you see the free agency winners do nothing in the regular season? They win the off season, but lose when the games come around.
Right. Certain teams got to overpay.
Yep.
The Saints had to overpay to get people there. Cleveland's got to overpay to get people there. And it's kind of the small market teams. You got to overpay to get people there, especially quarterback. It's a quarterback-driven league. If you have a quarterback, free agents will want to go there. If you have a head coach who's changing the culture, who's respected around the league for either the defensive side of the ball, the offensive side of the ball, players want to go there. It's got to be a destination. Look at Chicago. Chicago is a free agent destination right now. Yeah. I'm looking for the Bears to make some big. Now, the Bears, they were trying to get Max Crosby.
Yeah, I saw that.
They had like a 2 first-round pick, but the package that they offer, it wasn't better than what the Ravens offer. I'm the Raiders. I can't trade you in the AFC. I would trade them to the NFC, because in the AFC, that means I got to see them.
Yeah.
I don't want to see Max Crosby,
No.
At all. But, you're going to have to overpay sometimes to get people to come into the building, over market value. But hey, until things change on that field, until you get a quarterback under center that players believe in, believe that, hey, each and every single Sunday we go on the field, because of that guy, we have a chance to win. Nobody wants to go out there, man. You're playing your heart out, man, and you just see your offense go out there and the quarterback play is not up to par. And like, hey, if we don't score a defensive touchdown, special teams touchdown, 9 out of 10 times we ain't gonna win this game. And
that's what makes Myles Garrett so great. You look what he does with knowing his offense is just awful.
Yeah.
But I was going to close it out, Dolph, with predictions. So I want you, for Saints fans, for anybody who's going to watch this back on demand later on all of our channels here at the Come On In Sports Network, what are the Saints going to do between now and Wednesday? Make some predictions for your, not just positions, like players and trades, whatever. What do you think's happening with your Saints?
I believe Demario Davis is gone. I know for a fact Alontae Taylor is gone. He's all but sent his goodbye tweet. Go hate to lose them, but especially Double D, Demario Davis. He deserved to go somewhere and compete for a championship. Cam Jordan, for the first time, will be a free agent, coming off a 10-sack season after a down year the year before. But those on the outside who will say, well, he had a down year the year before, then 10 this year, it was the system, him and the offensive line coach. They were not seeing eye to eye. He wanted to use Cam more in the interior. Cam, if you know Cam Jordan, he's not a fan of that. And you saw what he can do when he went back onto the edge, one of the best of all time to do it. So if I'm kind of 60-40 with him coming back, I believe the Saints will go out, let him search the free agent market to get a contract and just bring it back to the Saints, and they see if they want to match it or not. But if not, Cam could be gone. Double D is definitely gone. Alontae Taylor is definitely gone. I think Travis Etienne is big. I think I'm leaning toward them getting Travis Etienne, but most importantly, your former guard, David Edwards. We need guard help bad, man, and he would be a hell of a signing to go to pay on that line. Plus, we get Eric McCoy back, Edwards, McCoy, Louise, and we got our 2 young bookend tackles, and Banks Jr. and Fuaga. So that would be a definitely upgrade to that offensive line. So that's what I'm looking for tomorrow. And it could be a splash play at linebacker too, with Demario Davis leaving. Maybe Quay Walker.
And as a non-Saints fan, when I think of the Saints the last decade, I think of DD and I think of Cam Jordan. So that'd be really weird to see them not in your uniform. But that's part of age. But like you said, Cam Jordan, heck of a year last year. No matter what his age is, he just keeps producing. So if he hits the market, somebody's going to pay him like, hey, come here, be a leader on our team. We've seen what you've done in New Orleans. So for you, I hope he stays there, because I know you probably have that emotional connection of hey, we've been here. I see what you do for our community. He's a great community guy too. So just
there's a Cam Jordan day, man. And he has his own day, man. It's a Cam Jordan day, man.
So there you go.
But hey, he's got to do what's best for him, man. And listen, to me, he deserves to play on the team to compete for a championship. Demario Davis deserves to play on the team to compete for a championship. Young Alontae Taylor, he's given us 4 years. The kid, he's a baller. He's a fighter. He believes he's the best corner on the open market. Teams will be coming after him. Dallas Cowboys and the Raiders are 2 teams that are linked to Alontae Taylor. So Cowboy Nation and Raider Nation, you might want to look at that. Hell of a tackler, feisty, defensive back, man, in the slot, outside. He wants to play outside, but he was playing the star role for Coach Staley this year and played it quite well. So we're gonna miss him, but you know, I just wish them all the best until they play the Saints, and I want to smash their head in.
Yeah, I feel that. For the Bills, my predictions is going to be another heavy dense defensive year. They released Taylor Rapp, they released Taron Johnson, Trey White's going to be a free agent, Joey Bosa, AJ Epinesa. It's good, and with the change in scheme, it's going to have to be an overhaul there. The Bills already made their big wide receiver move. I don't think they're done there. I think I could see them going and signing a Rashid Shaheed to be the deep threat they don't have, and also like a threat on the kickoff return. But the rest of it's going to be defense. I could see Chanel from the Chiefs being a great fit for the Bills. You mentioned Cam Jordan hit the market. I would love to see him on the Bills defensive line. We need linebackers. We need nickel corner now with safety opposite Rapp. So there's so much the Bills need on defense this year that even a year after almost all the resources are poured in on defense, the coach and scheme change is going to make it be another year of defense. And that's what continually lets the Bills down at the end of the year is the defense can't get stops when it absolutely needs to. Bo Nix had 46 passes. We didn't get one sack.
Man, hey,
we barely hit him.
Trey Hendrickson.
I'll take any of it at this point.
So let me ask you right quick before we get out of here. DJ Moore, what is your feelings about bringing in DJ Moore? Because I asked the question the other day on our Juice of the Day. Is he truly a number one receiver? For you guys, is he the number one receiver?
Oh, he's easily the best receiver the Bills would have.
Gotcha.
And there's a guy called Cover One who does like film breakdown for the Bills. He's really good. Okay. He showed clips of just what Moore does and how it's going to be really good for what the Bills want to do.
Gotcha.
And he also you got to factor in Caleb Williams made a lot of highlight plays. But he also missed a whole bunch of layups and easy, his completion percentage was in the 50s.
Gotcha.
So now DJ Moore is going to a quarterback who had his record-setting completion percentage this past year. 2 years off for MVP and with no receiver help this past year, essentially. Gotcha. So to me, it's the cost. The only reason people don't like it is how much money he's getting paid.
Yeah, gotcha.
But fit wise on what the Bills needed, it's a swing I was glad to take. I'd take a chance on him rebounding and doing that. But I would have rather had him than AJ Brown because AJ Brown's too much. DJ Moore has never had the headache issues or the sideline reading a book. He's a willing blocker. Think of him kind of being the younger guys kind of taking over this year in Chicago. I never once heard anybody, he didn't complain. And in the playoffs, look what happened. He made the big plays at the end when it mattered. Who did Williams go to deep downfield? He was throwing to DJ Moore.
Right.
So he's still got that dog in him. And with Josh Allen, who's as fire as he is, I think he's going to bring, and DJ's going to be I think he's going to be out to prove I'm still him this year.
And listen, I like the addition. I just was questioning, was he truly a 1A? Is he truly?
Yeah, I think he's a middle of the road number one. If you lined up all the number one receivers in the NFL, I think he'd be 15. But for the Bills,
top 15, that's great.
That's a huge upgrade over what the Bills had.
Yeah, because Keon Coleman has just been a disappointment for you guys. And when you go 12 personnel now with those two tight ends, your running back, and DJ Moore now with Cooks in the backfield, Moore, Josh Allen, man. I mean, you definitely look better on the offense.
Yeah,
he's definitely an upgrade to the receiver core, and that will help take some of the pressure off Shakir, who was happened to be a number one receiver. Which, with all due respect, he's not. I love the kid, but he's not a number one receiver.
No,
he's a high end number two. But
he's a great slot too.
Yeah, just I like the addition to you. I was just curious because I was asking the question about just his role in Chicago. Why would, if you was the number one receiver for a young talented quarterback like Williams, why would they trade you?
No, yeah,
And I was just curious, is he the number one? Was he considered the number one receiver in Chicago?
I don't think for Chicago he
or
would
was
be.
it Rome Odunze?
Yeah, I think Rome took that over. That's another one of those. I think it's a good trade for both.
Yeah.
I want to promote you, Dolph. You got your show coming up here, correct? You got
yeah. I'm gonna
Juice
come
of the Day.
Yeah, Juice of the Day will be. I'm gonna set it up. We'll be back in about 10-15 minutes with the Juice of the Day. Just going over the latest signings going on around the league, and I'll open up the lines if anybody wants to come on and discuss it. But yeah, so man, great job, Lawrence. The early bird special here on the Come On In Sports Network with our guy, Mr. Lawrence Foster himself, SS Bills Talk. And come on in, Bills, man. Appreciate the work you do, my brother.
Dolph, thanks for coming in and joining us today. My voice was already starting to hurt, so I was glad that you joined when you did. A lot of time. But like that Dolph said, guys, just use this next 10-15 minutes, go get a drink, use the bathroom, take a walk, then come back in and join Dolph on his NFL Juice of the Day. More free agency NFL talk at the Come On In Sports Network. Always come on in, join us. And we like to say,
the doors are not open. So come on in. Have a good one, family. See you in a minute.
The Come On In Sports Network.